Watauga Arts Council with your host, Cherry Johnson, serving arts in Watauga County for more than 30 years.
Hi, I'm Cherry Johnson with Watauga County Arts Council, and as you know, the arts involve a lot of different art forms. We do paintings, we do sculpture, we do music, we do all kinds of things, and we also work with authors. And we have with us Ingrid Kraus today.
Good morning,
Thanks
Cherry.
for being with me, Ingrid.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
Now, you are an author who has written a book called The Red Leather Chair.
That's right.
And it's sort of, well, let's talk. You describe the book.
It's a family drama. I think it's kind of exciting. We have a betrayal that occurs early on.
Yeah.
And it's pretty drastic.
Within the family.
Within the family. And from there, the story evolves with characters reacting and emoting, and we follow them sort of in a pell-mell pace, trying to see what's going to happen. So.
And we're not going to tell the ending.
No, we're not. No,
because she wants you to find out.
No, we're not going to tell all of what happens in between either.
But it is a very fascinating book.
I think people have found it extremely interesting. They've told me that they couldn't put it down.
Wow.
People would start reading it at night, you know, before they would fall asleep. A nice leisurely read, and found that they were up for hours. So
the wrong one to pick up if you want to doze off, right?
I think so. I think so. But it's good. I'm glad it captures people's interest. It's about all of us, really, although it is set in Kansas.
Right.
It's about any family and problems that we all have, not this specific betrayal, of course, but difficult occurrences happen in each family, and how do we deal with them? And people also take a moment to reflect in the novel, so I think some of it engages us in that way.
Now, why would you decide to write a book?
I've been writing all my life, and I've written as a newspaper reporter. I'm a psychologist, but that didn't keep me from wanting to continue to write.
Right.
When you're a psychologist, you work in a kind of evanescent way. You know, your work is sort of done that day. There's nothing to carry with you. But as a writer, there's something down on paper.
Okay.
So, yeah. So it's very satisfying.
Very interesting. Now, what other kind of writing have you been doing?
I've done short stories. I've done essays. I've done magazine on newspaper articles, but that was quite some time ago.
Wow. Now, you published this book yourself, right?
I did.
And
it's under the imprint of W.R.Y. Hill, but it is self-published.
Okay, and where is it available?
It is available at Amazon.com, also Smashwords and Barnes & Nobles online.
Right.
But you can find it locally at Black Bear Books or ASU Bookstore.
Right. Now, I'm sure people are going, okay, what is the red leather chair guy? And I'm sure they're drawing all kinds of conclusions based on...
I'm sure they are.
So let's talk about the red leather chair.
If you go on Amazon.com and you plug in red leather chair instead of the red leather chair, you'll get a bunch of pictures of red leather chairs. So if anybody's interested and they want to go on Amazon, put in the red leather chair.
So why is it
or
the red
name.
leather chair?
My
What
name
is it about that chair?
The chair is symbolic. It's got a lot of symbolism. It's symbolic of hiding out.
Yeah.
You can go in a big chair and you can just kind of withdraw from your family.
Right.
It's symbolic of sexuality. It's symbolic of aspiration, wanting a life maybe that's bigger than our everyday kind of humdrum life.
Right.
So it really serves a lot of different purposes in the story, and it's all explained as you go along.
Okay, now I understand this is set in Kansas?
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
Why Kansas?
That's a very good question. Kansas to me represents our American heartland. So it's the heart of each of us, the heart and soul of an American raised on the farm, you know, the agrarian community.
Yeah.
It's all of us connected to the earth and to growing things. So that again is symbolic. It's a real place, but it functions in a symbolic way to mean that it refers to everyone.
I'm a little curious about your process then.
Okay.
Because clearly you've thought very thoroughly through all the pieces and the parts of this book. So how did this book evolve? How did this start?
It just happened. It just happened, and all that thinking sort of came in retrospect.
Okay, so it wasn't like you sat down and said, I'm going to work it in
Kansas.
Exactly.
No. It's interesting because this sort of betrayal that I write about in here is one that I explicitly never wanted to write about. A family member betraying their spouse. I never wanted to write about that. I don't believe in it personally. I wish it didn't have to happen so often. But this is what came out, and again, in retrospect, I think it was because an old friend of mine, a friend of 35 years, quit contacting me, quit responding to my contacts. And she and I had been so close. We'd been friends through graduate school, through thick and thin. And basically, we were in contact at least once a week.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, she dropped off the face of the earth. So I think that, you know how they say every cloud has a silver lining? I think creating something out of the pain of that loss was the silver lining for me.
This was kind of your therapy.
It's my therapy. But the betrayal notion, I think, comes out of a true relationship, but the way it's echoed in the book shows nothing of the way it actually occurred.
Okay. Now, once again, they can get your book at
Amazon.com. And my name is Ingrid, I-N-G-R-I-D, Kraus, K-R-A-U-S, or they can simply put in the red leather chair. They can have it either as an ebook or a print book through Amazon, or locally they can go to Black Bear Books or ASU Bookstore and find a copy there.
That's great. And once we get our
also
gift
in
shop
the
reopened,
library.
it'll be back in our place.
Excuse me?
I said, once we open our new gift shop again, reopen it, you're going to have them there. We've
there's
already
also
talked
a
about
copy at Watauga Library if they don't want to pay for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's impressive.
And I've heard that there's a long line waiting to get it. So
a waiting list. Wow. Well, I'm very, very impressed with this book. I think it's a great. Is there one to come? Is there a sequel? Is there something else happening?
There is one to come, but it's quite different. It will be nonfiction, and it will be about an entirely different topic. And let me get it a little further along before I start publicizing it. So,
okay. Well, when you've got it ready, we'll share it with everybody.
Excellent. I'd love to do that.
We'd love to do that. All right. Well, thank you, Ingrid, for coming and joining me today.
And thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
And I hope that you've gotten fascinated with both Ingrid and the red leather chair, and that you can't wait to go and get it and pick it up and turn through every single page, or look at it on your Kindle or whatever you have. All right. Well, please check our website, watauga-arts.org, for information about our authors and a whole lot more.
Watauga Arts Council with your host, Cherry Johnson, serving arts in Watauga County for more than 30 years.